Welcome to Wager Talk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk.
We got a hell of a show coming your way Monday morning, I guess Monday afternoon, depending on where you're at. But Yanni the Greek is coming on. Bill Crackman is coming on. Steve Merrill is coming on. We're going to get you some winners here across all leagues. Where is the money going? But Andy, right this second, it's the top of the show. Hit that like button and subscribe. And let's start off with a winner. The Wager Talk Today play of the day, my friend.
We have a little bit of controversy here, Dan. I ran this play live on the Total Bases show. I sent it to the guys, and they were like, no, that's a stupid play. I'm rolling with it, though. I'm rolling with the Astros first 5 on the money line. You got Arrighetti pitching for the Astros, Grayson Rodriguez pitching for the Angels. I just want to fade Grayson Rodriguez. Been lit up in 3 out of his 4 starts this season. 18 innings pitched, 23 hits, 19 earned runs, 4 home runs, and 11 walks. Arrighetti did not have a good outing the last time out. I think that's the outlier. Before that, he's not given up more than 2 earned runs in 8 straight games. My take on this play was I just want to fade Grayson Rodriguez. The guys on Total Bases said you should just play the full game because the Astros have a much better bullpen. I just don't want to mess with the bullpens. I want Arrighetti in a bounce back spot. Astros money line, it's only minus 125. That is the play of the day.
Yeah, and Arrighetti only 2.19 ERA in the 2 starts that he's had in his career here against the Angels. That is much better than what Grayson Rodriguez is sending here to the mound. I like it. And you know what? The bucking the Total Bases guys has worked a little well for us at times. I mean, they're 3 of the best MLB handicappers. However, when we pick our spots and go against them, comment below, guys. What do you think? We're going with the Astros here in the first 5. I'm with you, Andy. Let's make some money. And as you alluded to, my friend, we got Yanni coming on here. We're going to get the Steam report here in just a second. Crackman's coming by. NBA prop for you, and we'll talk this NBA Finals. Is it over? Game 3 happens tonight in MSG. I'm with you, Andy. I like that head shake. And Steve Merrill will shut things down for us. Reds, Padres, Nats, Giants. We'll get his thoughts on Game 3 and your thoughts all along the way. Comment below. But without any further ado, Andy, let's bring him in. Yanni the Greek. Yanni, what's up, brother?
Never better, man. Excited for the week ahead. We got Freedom 250 on Sunday for the UFC. So it's a big week for sure for them. And yeah, I'm excited. The cold streak's behind us, and now it's just moving forward. Again, a lot to bet on. And the World Cup's just around the corner. So nothing but opportunities, baby. Nothing but opportunities ahead. Slow day today, though. Kind of good to get our bearings in order and get ready for this week. But yeah, we got a Game 3 tonight. Like you said, do or die for the Spurs. Nothing to report there. Absolutely nothing sharp in any of the accounts. Even guys that I've been texting with this morning and just asking, have you seen anything on the game? And usually I'll get like a prop, like, oh, bet this guy over 7.5 rebounds, that kind of shit. But I got nothing. So there's nothing sharp that I could share as far as the NBA game goes tonight. What I can tell you early, looking in the back end, they're getting Spurs money, and they should, because, again, this is do or die for them. And they're probably going to get some over money. It's been a lower scoring series, but they're not going to bet it under. Like, they'll either pass on the total or pretty much bet it over. You're not getting a lot of under money from the recreational bettors. And it's just been that way throughout the playoffs. I do think you'll get some Knicks money as we get closer to game time. And you see all the excitement with the game in Madison Square Garden and New York and the president's show. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be all that hype around it that I think will get some Knick money. But I think when it's all said and done and the dust settles, they're going to need the Knicks tonight. And that's not good for them overall, because Knicks winning the series is bad for the sports books. It's very costly. So they got themselves in a tight spot tonight for this series, actually. And I think, like most bookmakers now, just want this to be over with. They're not even looking to recover the losses game by game. I'm pretty sure most are hoping to just sweep this and move on to the World Cup, prepare for football, grind out baseball. But yeah, this series has cost them, and we'll see what happens. Historically, this has only happened 3 times in the NBA Finals, where the road team went up 2-0. All 3 times, the road team won the series. 2 out of 3 times, the road team, which is the Knicks, they're home tonight, but they're road for the series, ended up winning game 3. So again, no, it's a small sample size, and it makes sense because very few times should the home team in the NBA Finals get swept in the first 2 games. That's why it's only happened 3 times. Because if you got home court advantage, you're probably the best team in the NBA, and to lose back-to-back is improbable. But it happened, so it's now the Knicks series to lose, and that would be crazy, right? Like, everybody's been waiting so long, decades, like lifetimes, to celebrate a Knicks NBA championship. Could you imagine if they dumped a 2-0 lead?
Yes, I can imagine it. Yes, it can happen. There's lots of reasons. A, Wemby's the most incredible defensive force we've ever seen. It's New York and it's the Knicks. This is kind of what they do. And Dan brought this up. I'm just saying there might be a little curse tonight. There might be a little bit of a curse tonight. I'm throwing that out there. He's going to throw a wrench into this game. Yanni, this game, for security purposes, is not going to start till after 9:00. The crowd is going to be wonky. This is a disruption. I just don't think it favors the home team. And if this game gets if they lose this game and New York starts to get tight, oh boy, look out.
The pressure's on them. If the Spurs just pick up 1 game, the pressure actually flips, because they've been counted out right now. Like, at least mentally, everybody thinks they're done. Like, we've chalked up the Knicks as champs, but they just got to win 1 game to completely flip that pressure. Again, tonight's the game. Because they go down 3-0, it's all but done. You got to win 4 of the next 5 games. That's not going to happen. But if they could sneak in a W tonight, then all the pressure's on the Knicks game 4. Otherwise, they recapture home court advantage. So tonight is the game for this entire series. This is going to determine it. And
I'm going to stay up for the whole thing. I was up late last night. I bet on the IndyCar, which they started at 8:00, 9:00 on a Sunday for some reason, and then it got rain delayed. So I'm running on fumes here because that race got delayed. Now I got to do it again tonight. We haven't had the horrible Karl Anthony Towns game, which history would suggest it's coming. So yeah. You said something interesting. The books are just like, get us out of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, when they have action up, then the probability is they're going to turn a profit, right? Because we all have to lay big. So yeah, they want games, but the risk that they have now on the Knicks for the futures, they don't want more piling on. Like, there's bettors now that are looking at this like a lock, like a 20% ROI by betting the Knicks now to win the series. Like, bettors haven't stopped betting the Knicks just because this line has been adjusted. And that's what I mean. Like, the risk keeps piling up. And that's why I'm saying that I think most would rather have it kind of end and not pile up more risk on the Knicks if they end up winning this series. Because, like, right now, they're only minus 400, 450. The road team's up 2-0 in the NBA Finals, and they're only a minus 450 favorite. So what's that, 83% break even? That's what it's telling you. Any other team up 2-0 on the road is right now minus 900. Easily, where they're at 900, where they're 90% to win the series. Like, why are they not 900 and they're minus 450? 435 you could get right now at Circa. They're betting it, bro. I'm telling you, bettors are betting it. I did the John Anik podcast yesterday, and he jokingly said he was telling his brother, I should sell my Bitcoin and put 100 dimes to make 20,000 on the Knicks. Like, it's just sitting there waiting for us. Bettors are doing that. Rest assured. So
no thanks.
That's the risk that's going to keep piling up with these Knicks.
Yeah. I mean, surely the books are making some money back on the Hurricanes. Like with that series, that's kind of been another disaster, right?
Yeah, it's been a disaster because the recreational bettors money outweighs sharp money this time of year. That's what you got to remember. That's why even this week, not to jump ahead, but Freedom 250, approach that card like no other card when you're betting MMA. This week's Freedom 250 card is the Super Bowl of MMA. The way the Super Bowl landscape is different than any other NFL week, that's how the UFC is going to be because of the participants that'll be betting in that market. Like there's going to be so much recreational money. And in the playoffs, that's what happens. That's why we say like in the Super Bowl, there's so much value on the props because the books don't really care what the wise guys are doing. Obviously, they're paying attention. Obviously, they're going to shade the line towards the sharp side when they bet, but they know they're going to get so much public money outweighing it that it really doesn't matter what the sharps do. And in this instance, where on paper, Carolina was so much better than Vegas, even though Carolina attracted sharp money and they bet Carolina in game 1, even having them for the series, they bet Carolina in game 2, they bet Carolina in game 3, because on paper, they're just better, but there's so much public money, overwhelming public money on Vegas. Number one, they're a public team. Las Vegas, bettors want to bet Vegas team. Number two, they're the dog that's on a hot streak. They love that. They were cashing at plus money. They beat Colorado in a sweep at plus money. Like all those reasons is why that series, is definitely costing the books with every Vegas win. And even with Carolina being the sharp side, it's not barely making a dent into all the action that's coming in on the Vegas side. And again, you're right. That's going to continue. There's no reason to jump ship now that they're up 2-1. If anything, it's just going to keep piling on. Game 4 in Vegas, you're going to get even more Vegas money now. I know they're going crazy out here for it. And you have Carolina as a favorite again. Again, minus 110, whatever. But Vegas is the home dog. Like the bettors are salivating at this. And the sports books are waiting for the cream to rise to the top. And it's just not happening in that series.
I love that you call it the Freedom 250. I call it the event. I call it the keep politics out of sport. Because this was the crowd that screamed, you got to keep politics out of sports.
Yeah,
hey, listen, there's no better way to do that than to have an event at the White House. So I got to ask you about UFC, and then we got to get to MLB. Please. I know people want some. Fair pulled one of the all-time nuclear bombs of a parlay buster this weekend. Like this guy was penned in against Tom Nolan, and you want to talk about a bed-shitting performance. That was it. I feel like it happens with parlays every week in UFC. So who's it going to be? You got Bo Nickel, Ruffy, Hokett, O'Malley, Taporia. These are all going to be they're not all going to win, Yanni. It's just not how it works in 2026 in UFC. I got Bo Nickel. I got Bo Nickel as the one that loses. I think Kyle Dawkins can get him out of there. But
do you think that Dawkins subs him or gets a knockout?
I think it's a knockout. I think if it's hot, these guys are going to be sweaty, and Bo Nickel can't work the wrestling. And Dawkins is a legit wrestler. He's not on Bo Nickel's level, but he can hang. And on the feet, it's not a contest. I think Dawkins. You got to pick what you have to pick one of these guys. This year has told us these parlays are just getting nuked, and it's just like, which one is it going to be? Which one?
It's going to be. You're not getting 7-0 favorites, right? That's not supposed to, at least it's not supposed to happen. Even though MMA is a sport where the favorites win at a high clip, still like it's at a higher clip right now than historically. They're right now through like 17, 18 events. They're at like 70%. Dogs are down at about 30, 31% if you throw in the no contest and the draws and stuff. So I'm 29, whatever. Make a long story short, they're way behind. Like the dogs are behind too. So like a dog's got to do a little bit better. And for sure, you're going to get some dog that spoils the parlay. And it happens all the time in MMA. You guys remember, there's 12 fights. So even if the favorite wins 7 out of 10, which it doesn't, it wins about 6.5 out of 10. But let's say even 7 out of 10, That means out of 12 fights, you're going to expect 4 or 5 dogs in there, on average. And with this one, you expect 1 or 2 dogs, just math wise, you expect it. That doesn't mean it can't go 7-0 favorites or 7-0 dogs, but just average, we expect 5 favorites to win, 2 dogs to win. If you're looking at this card and you're looking at it from historical average, that's exactly what you would say, 4 favorites, 2 dogs, and draw. That's what you would look at historically. We should get 4 favorites, 2 dogs, and a draw or no contest out of these 7 fights. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not. But I can tell you, I do think we'll get at least 1 dog in there. The dog that jumped out at me, and I know there'll be argument for it, and I get it, but I'm looking to fade Diego Lopez in that opener against Steve Garcia. Rarely am I ever going to get value on a guy like Steve Garcia. Why? Because he's won 7 straight fights. 3 of his last 4 come by performance bonus. 3 of his last 4 come by first round knockout. This is a guy you should not be getting any plus money on. With that said, it's Diego Lopez across from him, a victim of his own success. He's a fan favorite, and they bet him every time at the window, and the UFC absolutely loves this guy because of all the media attention, social media attention also that he gets. So that's how he made it on the White House lawn for Freedom 250 and highlighted by the Mexican fighter. And because of he's that loved. But I just think Garcia matches up pretty well with him as long as he could keep this upright and have the defensive wrestling to not have Lopez, implement his grappling where I think he will have an advantage. I think Garcia is live. Again, his knock is strength of schedule, but you can only fight who's in front of you, and he's been knocking everyone out in front of him. So, how much of a knock can you give this guy for strength of schedule? Bonfim was kind of like a step up with Muhammad. So, yeah, I like Garcia there. I think he's live. What else? I'll tell you this, too. I haven't released any premiums yet. But I've done multiple shows, so most know who I like already. I love Josh Hokett. Nothing's going to get me off Josh Hokett. At -400, I'll tell you now, subscribers, you're getting Josh Hokett, at least a 4% play. I understand it's chalky, and if your risk tolerance isn't like mine, then maybe you should pass, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have no problem laying -400 when I think the line should be upwards of -650, 700, honestly. You're looking at a huge difference in athletic ability in where they are in their careers right now, in 13 years of age, in speed, in everything. The only reason I'm getting such a discount on Hokett is that is Derek Lewis, who even if he loses the first 2 rounds and 4.5 minutes, as long as there's 10 seconds on the clock, you still think you have a shot if he lands a big shot. That danger is why we're getting that value, coupled with Hokett's short turnaround off a war against Blades. Don't let his nonsense outside the octagon fool you. He's a smart guy. He got from the Contender Series to pretty much the White House lawn in 12 months, and he's a win away from a title shot. So he's a very smart guy, or whoever's behind them has pushed him the correct way. I love Hokett in this spot. It just everywhere imaginable. He has the advantage, except the reach, and he's not going to walk into as reckless Derek Lewis as he was with Blades, who didn't pose the kind of threat. And Blades has defensive wrestling, something Lewis doesn't have. So Hokett's going to have his way with Derek Lewis. I think that's my key as far as for parlay lovers out there. You key Hokett with whatever you're parlaying, because I absolutely love Josh Hokett.
All right. Well, we have to get to MLB. If you got any steam for today on this Monday, pretty decent little card.
Yeah, not a lot of movement. Everything was overnight. Only 3 plays that got follow through real quickly. These were the overnights. They hit San Diego at -115. They hit Baltimore +120 and the over 8.5. They bet Philadelphia from -160 up to -180 and went under 8. But then this morning took Toronto at +170, 165, 160. So that's why be careful with the overnights and then what happens the next day. But Cleveland action today. Actually, while I was doing this, I got a fill order for -120. I can't fill it because the best I could find is 123, 124, but they want 120 on Cleveland as a fill. And they also followed through and took Washington plus 140 today. And they took Toronto plus 170, 65, and 60. So some dogs in Monday's action from the Sharps, but it's still a little early in the day.
All right, it's World Cup season, Yanni, so we got to go over some power rankings. Dan is pumped. We have a question in the chat about some futures. Dan is going to jump in after Yanni gets out here to go over some futures that we have up. But Yanni, give us your power rankings for World Cup. This thing kicks off real soon.
All right, we haven't changed much. Spain still up at the top. Spain still up at the top. Just doesn't offer that ton of long-term value. Future value. But right behind them is Argentina, followed by Portugal, followed by France and Brazil. And then right behind them is Japan, England, Netherlands, and Colombia, followed by Germany. That's your top 10 right there. So we got Spain, Argentina, Portugal, France, Brazil, Japan, England, Netherlands, Colombia, Germany. That's your top 10. USA, for you USA fans out there, they're in my top 10, 20, 30. They're about 36th, 34th, right around there. Yeah, around 35. So they got about 35 countries ahead of them before they capture World Cup.
All right, power rankings from Yanni. Appreciate it.
How about those baseball teams real quickly? What do we got? Only 3 now above 60%? And still only one's going to finish the year up 60%, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers. But everyone it only took 2 months, brother. Only took 2 months and about 55, 60 games for us to see a true sample size. That's the difference between, a sample size and talking about NFL, college football, and seasons that are so small. You could really, exceed market expectations, defy probability, but you ain't doing that in baseball.
It's amazing listening to you talk about these because, the Tampa Bay Rays are already down to 59%. My God.
Milwaukee's next. Milwaukee's next. I have a future on Milwaukee. In fact, I have Milwaukee as the number. They're neck and neck, 1A, 1B with the Dodgers. And I'm telling you now, Milwaukee's will not win. When the season's done, I would bet the under 59%. I would bet under right now 59%, and I would lay probably 120, 130 comfortably and think I have an edge. That 6 out of 10 times they don't win above 59% of their games. And I know that as of today, they're at 64%. They're going to drop. They're going to come back down to life. It's just how it is. Atlanta's going to come back down to life. Atlanta's won 68% of their games. Atlanta's not going to win 60. They're going to be right near there. They'll be about 96 games. They'll win about 95, 96 games. They'll be hovering right around 60%. They're not going to win no 68, 69% of their games where they're at now. So, sorry, went a little long. But, expect Atlanta and Milwaukee are going to be the next 2 teams to come back down to earth. Dodgers are right around where they should be. Maybe, they're 63%, probably should be about 61. But those are the teams that we should see some improvement. I mean, some going back down. And then as far as improvement goes, I can't even really tell you. I mean, maybe.
I love that you have the teams that you're just ready to pick off. You're like, Rays, get them out of here. Now you're like, Braves, get them out of here. Brewers, get them out of here. Love it. Love it.
Next. And Brendan Sorsey, if you're watching, you need an account, you need an out, I know a guy.
What do you have up for everybody on Monday?
All right. No package up yet, but I will. I didn't put out a Steam sheet because, again, everything was done overnight. And unless I confirm some premiums, it'll just be for subscribers. But I do have the NBA game, side and total tonight. It just sets up nicely in whether I get any confirmation or not. I love this play, so I'm betting the NBA side and total tonight. That'll be up within the next 60 minutes. And, then day by day, baby, as we approach Freedom 250 this weekend. What a great week.
Yep, the Keep Politics Out of Sports event at the White House. We're going to break that down later on. Yanni the Greek, everybody, moving along, but always good information. Thank you, brother. Dan, go over the we had a great question about the futures, and we have several futures up for us. So you and Jan did a great job breaking down some of these games. So just talk about World Cup if you got any futures you like.
Yeah, so one of the futures we gave out, Andy, while you were away, we did a straight forecast of Brazil's group. We took Brazil up top. We made the 4 winners. So that was one of our Wager Talk Today plays of the day. So that's actually the way that we as a team are going to be attacking the World Cup as far as futures are concerned. We have a couple different parlays of teams to win groups, teams to qualify. One way that I like betting it, Andy, and Carm and I did a live stream about World Cup betting. And we parlayed together a couple of these losers in groups. So we put together, it's a 5-piece, so it's a long shot, but you're getting, plus 510 on it. Qatar to finish last, Haiti to finish last, Curacao to finish last, Tunisia to finish last, New Zealand to finish last. So we went through and looked at teams that are just overmatched, teams that might just be happy to be here. That's ways that we attacked it. Now, when people are talking futures in the World Cup, Andy, so often what they want is tell me who's the outright winner, right? You just heard Yanni's power rankings there. And if you're looking at the odds boards of the outright winners, the odds boards are a little bit different than what he projects to be some of his power rankings. France is the favorite. He doesn't have France until the 3rd best team in the tournament. He has Spain as the best team. England is up there as well. I think of those top 10 teams, Brazil at an 8-1 shot is one that I'm looking at. I know folks are liking Argentina. If you like Argentina, sure, it's plus 950. Way that I would attack Argentina, if you like them, take them to the quarterfinals, because the way that Argentina won the World Cup in 2022 had a lot to do with the fact that they just do enough. They just do enough to beat you. And that, I think, could bite them in this tournament, where there are some teams that I like further down the list that if you're doing just enough and they're doing everything, they have the skills to beat you. So if you like Argentina, take Argentina to make the quarterfinals. That's an even money bet. I think that's a great bet to make. If you're asking me my long shot, Andy, my dark horse, the team that I bet on, the team that I think can make some noise in this tournament, Colombia. They're currently 35-1 to win the World Cup. I think you're going to have some good hedging opportunities. They're a team that nobody wants to see. Jan and I both like Colombia a lot. So if you're looking for a dark horse, my dark horse candidate would be Colombia at a nice 35-1. You can shop around, find a 40-1 price. So guys, if you like the World Cup talk, let us know. We can give you World Cup plays here. It starts on Thursday. We're going to have one loaded over at wt.buzz/AL by the time we're off the show here, Andy. And what else are we rocking with? Because tonight, 5% time, baby. And we like this one quite a bit.
I could not be more excited about this play tonight. Yes, we have a 5% in the NBA. And I thought we had a pretty good read on this series, and we've swept the board 3-0 in this series. So this is what we talked about in the playoffs. If you have a good read in the playoffs, you're probably going to run well throughout the entire thing. If you don't have a good read, it's probably going to be a brutal year. Last year was a brutal year in the playoffs, NBA, NHL. I did not have a good year. This year we've been cooking in both NHL and NBA, and I am stunned that the books hung this line out. And I'm even more stunned that the line is holding strong in our favor. So I love it. I don't think the books have made the right adjustment on this player prop. It's available on all your books. It's our first 5% play in this series. We are up 31 units just in June. So you got a really good run. For me and my team, you got a really good run in this series. You got a really good run on big plays for us. So that's over at Wager Talk. Well, I've attached an MLB and a WNBA play to that one as well. So you get a few plays. But man, what a weekend. Jim goes 3-1 in auto racing. Correctly predicts the winner of the IndyCar race that ended at like 4 a.m. It was a messy NASCAR race. We still went 2-1 on those guys. So Jan's been doing the Lord's work in his MLB plays and everything. So we're just running well all across the board. So when you're running well, time to be a little bit more aggressive. So it's a 5% play. Join us tonight. And we cash that one tonight. We'll have a big 4% play for $5 Tuesday in NHL. I already got that play. I know what it is. So,
well, and Andy, real quick, we got Bill Krakenberger coming in here in just a second. I just wanted to mention, sure, Buy the 5%er tonight if you want, or take advantage of this deal right here. Buy 3, get 3 days free. You're going to be paying out the nose here if you want for that 5%er. You might as well round it up, even though what Andy and I like to do is attach other plays so you're not just buying the 5%er. No brainer is buy 3 days, get 3 days free. We're going to have World Cup plays. That starts on Thursday, heading towards the weekend with the Freedom 250, or as Andy likes to call it, keep politics out of sport, UFC card. This is a great time to buy in. $69 is what it normally costs for 3 days. Get 6 days, WT.buzz/AL. And Andy, let's do it. Let's get to the man, Bill Krackomberger, joining us here. At Bill Crackman is where you can follow him. And Bill, we got NBA props to talk about. We got games to talk about, bankroll management, all that good stuff. But when we have the great Bill Crackman on, and we have a story break that Texas quarterback Brandon Sorsby gets the slap on the wrist, I guess we could call it, for he got caught betting on his own team's games, betting on all kinds of games, and then he finds the favorable court there in Lubbock County, Texas, and he's eligible to play the 2026 season. Thoughts on what figures to have some ripples throughout college sports, Bill, with Sorsby basically getting off scot-free? What do we think, Bill?
You know, I've been doing media for 30 years now, and I did one of the first shows. Well, actually, the first sports betting show was Larry Grossman out here in Vegas in the mid '90s, late '90s. You can bet on it. For 30 years, I've been saying everyone looks for reasons why they lose the game, and they don't look in the mirror when they make a bet. They always say, "Oh man, this is fixed. There's fixed. It's fixed. It's fixed." And I always fought against that. I understand why the public thinks that more and more when you see these type of decisions and rulings and stupidity by athletes. This is going all the way up to the NBA, where guys were making 25 million a year to make an extra $100,000 or whatever. It's so stupid. It really is how dumb these people are, and it just makes the people that start betting, that are betting sports, it gives them more excuses to say things are fixed and scripted, which we know 99% of the time. I used to say 100%, but 99% of the time, especially in the pro games, NBA, NFL, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. But now college athletes are getting paid also, so the crossover will be that. I can't stand when these type of things happen, and and especially you get such a home court ruling for this guy down there in Texas. So it does bother me. It bothers me that the authenticity of the game and the results and stuff, a college game would come down to someone taking money. And that's what happens with college the last couple of years. We've seen that. Well, we've seen all the old mob stories too, when the mobsters got involved, and with I think it was Arizona State or Boston. Like there was a couple colleges involved in the past, of course, in scandals. And we've seen some mob guys that have podcasts now talk about that. It's very good, very transparent. I like the way they talk about it, and they tell you exactly how it went down. There's been some documentaries on the streaming services about it also. But I just don't want people to think that just because you lose a bet in the NBA or NFL, you think it's scripted when guys are making 25, 50 million a year. But I understand a little bit more now when you have these NBA idiots that are fixing games, or supposedly fixing games, for a little bit of amount. Listen, I'm a prop guy. I know what I can get down on props. So it's so hard for me to believe that they can get down such big money on NBA player props, over under, and then points scored or minutes, whatever it may be, and then there's so many different hands in the well that there's enough for that athlete that he would fix a game. It doesn't make any sense to me. A lot of times what happens is you have all of the hanger-oners, the entourage, that's the word I'm looking for. You have the entourage, and you want to keep them around you, and you have to pay them to keep them around you. And in order to pay them, we say, "Oh man, you just get upset that you're paying," and now you just say, "Maybe, yeah, you know what? Bet my points under this game." So you're trying to pay them in different ways, and then when they're actually taking money out of it too and getting paid, I mean, how stupid these people are. So I am upset about this whole entire industry when it comes to these athletes taking money and not being properly penalized.
Yeah, it was a surprising ruling. I think Scott Van Pelt said it the best. He tweets out, there really aren't any rules. You can just go to court. If it fails, go to court again until a judge says you're set. You want a 7th year? Sure. Broke reels? It's fine. He says there aren't any real rules. That's the Scott Van Pelt quote, and it certainly feels like that, Bill. Certainly feels like that, man. All right, so we got a comment here right before you hopped on, Bill, and I want to get your thoughts on it because Yanni kind of alluded to the same thing kind of happening here, and it's that volume kind of changes, things go different. So David is saying that the public has been crushing the sharps the last 3 months, which typically means that I guess the sports books aren't doing well either. Are you seeing this in MLB? Something that Yanni alluded to is that sharp money in MLB isn't doing great.
I interview the director of risk for all of BetMGM on my Fox Sports Radio nationwide show on the weekends. And he came on with a situation this week again. He's like, we needed Oklahoma City. We needed OKC. We needed OKC in the playoffs. We needed them to get to the finals. Because they didn't, we cannot win. We lose on Knicks futures. We lose on Spurs futures. They lose more on Knicks futures because the public keeps on pounding the Knicks even before this series. Again, even though they had pre-flop futures that they've taken all throughout the year on the Knicks, they're going to lose a lot more on the finals here. If the Knicks win, then San Antonio wins. So it's unbelievable. Think about that. A sports book is going to lose money and big money. You're talking giant phone numbers of money they are going to lose with either team winning. Now, again, I'm not the person getting out the collection bucket for the sports book, so I'm just saying they are going to lose on this series. And yes, the last couple months has been bad for a couple of the sports books in certain areas, but they crush it in other areas. Same game parlays, laying margins of juice, 30, 40 cents in between. We have conditioned America and society to 20-cent baseball. These kids that have only been betting for the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they don't realize that for decades and decades, we've been playing with minus $1.50, come back $1.40. Now the straddle's minus 150, come back $1.25. You might as well use a mask and a gun. Just take the money off us faster because get the pain over with, because that's what's going to happen anyway. You're just going to. It's ridiculous that we have conditioned society to lay what they lay. So no one's crying and collecting money for the sports books. I'm just telling you the situation. Even myself, listen, I've come on this platform right here, this show, so many weeks and just talked about the previous weeks and previous months. And listen, I know it's a business of what have you done for me lately? Well, I've had some losing weeks the last couple of weeks myself. It's going to happen. Absolutely. I was practically begging the listeners and viewers to get aboard with me and Super Bowl props, March Madness, preseason football, NFL props. We're going to crush those markets. But of course, you're going to have variance. I want to say maybe even in those markets. I haven't, luckily enough, but especially during baseball season, though. This is the dog days of early summer here. Absolutely some variance, and it's going to happen. Like I said, I'll be the first to tell you, I've had a couple losing weeks in a row, but I know what I do long term. And guess what? Most people, the human condition, cannot handle losing. These brick and mortar casinos are built because people say, God, let me just get even. I'm going to go home and not gamble for a long time. Meanwhile, they're firing the next day. But so they're not conditioned to losing. So what happens is people just start taking shots, going crazy by the end of the night, and literally will lose their whole bankroll because they have no bankroll management skills. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you have, let's say you have $1,000 to gamble with, yes, you're only supposed to bet, believe it or not, 10 to 20, maybe $30. That's all you're supposed to bet. Even on like the stronger percentage plays, even my stronger percentage plays, because what'll happen is in the end, if you're betting player props, you're betting preseason football, you're betting, certain markets like that or smaller markets, what'll happen is that $30 bet will increase because your bankroll will increase. When your bankroll doubles, now the 30 becomes 60 and so on and so forth. And guess what? I'll be the first one to tell you. That's how I started. I had $1,000, 1992, that I sent $500 to two sports books. Now, granted, I got good bonus deals. They doubled the bankrolls there, but that's all the money I could have. I was a kid. I mean, I was early 20s. That's all I could bet, and literally built it up from there. And yes, you want to know something? I went broke after that. Yes, I did. I went broke after that. Why? I didn't even have those skill sets in the early 90s. I still had that, I grew up in a family of gamblers, I grew up in New York, Italians, my mother, God bless her, and her family, but we were all gamblers. So I knew that, every week I had a paycheck coming in. So I'd eventually, get money to send back to the sports book or start betting again every week. But I would go broke a lot. And then I realized someone took me and shook me and showed me the right way in life about 27, 28 years ago. And, literally showed me the way. And I was lucky enough to have a mentor like that. And then finally, of course, working with the sharpest syndicate groups in the world, knowing that at the end of the day is the end of the day. You don't sweat it. Tomorrow's another day. And you don't bet with money you don't have. You don't go into your bill money, your rent money, your mortgage money. And another thing too, this is going to sound a little off the wall, but this comes from many years of experience. You don't let your wife or girlfriend know anything. You don't tell them when you're winning. You don't tell them when you're losing. You don't tell them anything. You treat it like a business and be a man. Be an effing man. Don't be a wuss and go to your wife or your girlfriend with everything. And I'm not just talking about sports bettors. In life, you know how many guys are in the boardroom making millions of dollars? They come home and the wife's the boss. Give me a break. Give me a break. Be a man. So that's what I want to tell you guys too. I'm not trying to say be a tough guy. I'm not trying to say be physical. You love your wife. Thank God you have to have a companion. I'm just saying, don't tell them about your business of winning and losing. It's not good when you tell them about winning either. You know what I mean? This is a business, an absolute business. Treat it like one.
Bill, the chat absolutely loving a patented crack man rant right there. Stamp the TM on it. The chat absolutely loving it, Bill. WT.buzz / crackman. As you mentioned, sure, a little bit down, a little bit of a cold streak that you're talking about. But when you're in the cold streak, you just keep firing, man. And
yeah,
for
big deal. We've killed it. It absolutely destroyed it. I mean, if you follow everything, you're destroying it. But you're going to have losing weeks. That's the way it is.
And that's why I bring it up too, is because one of the things that you've stayed constant with and you've talked about here on the show and your clients know, NBA player props. There will be peaks, there will be valleys, but this has been a consistent moneymaker year over year for you and the clients. You have a top prop up tonight, but also give the folks maybe one that just missed the client card. What's a player prop that maybe folks should be eyeing, firing in on tonight as the game 3 rolls around?
Preseason football is 8 weeks away, guys. Oh my God.
Yep.
Can't wait. But yeah, NBA player props, of course, are one of my bread and butter. NFL player props also. Tonight we're going to give you Jalen Brunson rebounds and assists over 8.5 minus $1.30. Brunson getting trapped, and doubled more and more as game 2 went on. And the Spurs had some success with that. So I expect the same tonight. He's been guarding. I always want to call this guy Champagne, Champagne, and he's been guarding this guy. So who sits at the 3-point line all the time. So he's had a lot of rebounding opportunities because of that situation. So over 8.5 rebounds and assists on Brunson tonight. The crowd should be wild tonight. I see the tickets were lowered. I'm so happy for people. Tickets were lowered to $4,000 today. Really nice to them. They get another jerk off fist. I mean, they just make New York sports is ridiculous. How much they just shut the fans out. I put a tweet up the other day about how San Antonio, you could have went for $700, go see the Alamo, get some great Tex-Mex, hang out there, and even have a plane flight cheaper than half of a ticket to one of the Knicks games in New York. So absolutely ridiculous, though. But I don't think this is over yet. The Spurs, this is a big game for them. If they lose this, you might as well put a fork in them. But this, I don't think it's over yet. They probably should have won game 2, and they didn't. So this is great for Knicks fans and great for the Knicks. Listen, 14, going from 14 in a row. So many people have said, whoever wins the West, They're winning everything. They're going to listen. I love my guys on Fox. My buddy Jeff Schwartz played in the NFL for 9 years. Him and Brian, though, my other, they're just like everyone. Oh, this is going to be so easy. And it's everyone. Everyone thought that the Spurs were going to be a cakewalk, but the public actually on the Knicks money line in the series before the series started. I've talked to a couple bookmakers around town. They were actually shocked. It opened up like minus, I don't know, what, 220 or something. Went down to minus 170 almost instantly. All dog money. Everyone loving the Knicks. So once in a while, the bookmakers have to take it on the chin. Don't worry. People will be betting sucker parlays, laying the ridiculous juice they lay on baseball and money lines, even NFL money lines. These places charge so much on money lines. We're used to money lines minus $1.70, come back $1.50 on an NFL money line or an NBA money line. These places are minus 170, come back $1.30. I mean, really, it's unbelievable. I can constantly go after sports books for some of the predatory things they do. Don't have enough time today. Be happy to get into that in a future show also.
All right, Bill, we appreciate you, man. Best of luck here tonight. Like we said, the best bet is up now in the NBA. He's already firing on some NFL stuff as well, some futures. So, Bill, always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll see you next Monday. Appreciate you. WT.buzz/Crackman is where you can get that action. Great follow on Twitter at Bill Crackman. All right, he's been waiting long enough. The man wants to talk a little MLB, also wants to give his thoughts on the Game 3 in the NBA Finals, and that is one and the only Steve Merrill. Steve, great to see you, brother. Always love it when you hop on here and you and Andy aren't matching. So we've already
I thought about that. See, I got the T-shirt on Andy. I thought about it earlier. I was like, poor Andy is afraid to ever wear that black collared shirt again. And I was thinking, I don't even know why I wear it, because all it looks like is a black collared shirt with an occasional Nike swoosh, because my emblem is under the right. And this is the T-shirt I found, Andy, but you can't even see that. So it's like I'm just wearing Simon Cowell shirts in every Monday episode. It looks like it's American Idol.
He can't wear them on Mondays, and also this week he can't wear it on Tuesday because we're going to have a special guest appearance from Steve Merrill on the show tomorrow. Yeah, you're stuck. Now it's on air, Steve.
I know him.
I know him. You were mulling it over, and now you're stuck. Let's talk some MLB, and then we'll circle back. You and Andy can kick around this Game 3. Right. But let's start with the fact, Steve, that there's no crying in baseball, but there's also no ties in baseball. Which would be a fine bet if this was on the soccer pitch, because you got the Reds, who have lost 8 of their last 10, taking on the Padres, who have lost 11 out of their last 13. So fans of these two teams, good news is somebody has to win. Steve, are you looking for a side in this one? Or are you taking everything out of it and just saying, hey, let's attack the total as they open up this series between two teams who desperately need to get a run going?
Yeah, if it's a rain out, would that count as a tie? Could we bet a 3-way line with a rain out? That might be a tie. Bueller. Anybody Bueller? Walker Bueller's going for the Padres, no longer with the Dodgers. He remains in California. And he's definitely on the bottom half of his career. You look back in 2024, he had a 1-6 record, 75 innings, 5.4 ERA. Last year, 126 innings, 4.9. This year, he's 57 innings in, a 4.3. He's definitely not the dominant pitcher he was in his heyday with LA. And San Diego, as you mentioned, is struggling overall right now. This is a Padres team that's lost 8 of their last 10, as have the Reds. Reds sent to the mound Andrew Abbott, 4.1 ERA. He actually was pretty solid last year. Very underrated pitcher last year in 2025. 166 innings with a 2.9 ERA. And his last 7 starts, going back to the last day of April, 2.3 ERA. So don't let the overall 4.1 number fool you. He's been in better current form. And Bueller actually has been as well, 3.9 his last 7 starts since the end of April. So 2 struggling teams. And as is often the case when teams have only won 2 of their last 10 games, it's offense. I talk about offensive momentum all the time. That's the one consistency with the daily lineup for the most part. You get the same 7, 8, 9 guys in the lineup each day. And look at these last 4 losses by Cincinnati. 3 runs or less in 3 of those 4 games. In fact, they have scored 3 runs or less now in 7 of their last 10 games. Padres, they've lost 7 of their last 8. And if I'm not mistaken, they've had 3 runs or less in 6 of those 8 games. So 2 pitchers that have been pitching better over the past month, 2 offenses that remain ice cold. And then we get a total at 7.5 to the over. And as we talk about all the time, 7 is a very key number because of extra innings. If it's 3-3, it has to get to 7. 4-4 has to get to 9. So odd numbers mean more. So we're getting under 7.5 even money, two ice cold offenses. So I like the under 7.5 here. And in a battle of two struggling teams, sign me up for the dog when that's the case. Tie goes to the runner. Tie goes to the dog between two bad teams, plus $1.15 with the Reds. And as I mentioned, Abbott has been the better overall pitcher this year. So Reds and under would be the way I attack this game at 9:40 Eastern.
I love the breakdown. WT.buzz/SM is where you can get his best bets. We'll talk about those in just a few. But San Francisco Giants, man, last night, hopefully they got a good night's sleep because it was a late flight home after they grabbed that extra innings win against Chicago. Now they got that kind of long flight. Luckily for them, as they're returning home and trying to wipe sleep out of their eyes, they get to see Mikolas on the mound here for the Washington Nationals, who always seems like he has sleep in his eyes to start any series, Steve. So Nats Giants, how are you looking to attack this one? You think the hangover lingers here for the Giants after a big win?
Yeah, I mean, this is a game I'm thinking last night as well. What a terrible spot for the Giants here. Let's fade them. And then unfortunately, one of the worst pitchers in baseball is on the opposing mound here with my Washington Nationals, soon to be my Washington Nationals, Dan. They're 33-33, 10-10 their last 20. They're having a decent season. Giants, by the way, 12 games below 500, even though they're 5-5 their last 10. This is a team that started 22-34 this season. They're still 12 games below 500. Yes, it concerns me. Mikolas has a 6.4 ERA this season. He has not been good, to say the least. He has only 36 strikeouts in 56 innings of work, and he's 1-5 overall. But he's still a big league pitcher, and these guys occasionally have good outings, and they occasionally get a win. So if you're looking for a spot to play him, this is probably the spot because it's a fade the Giants spot, in my opinion. Back-to-back extra inning games on Saturday and Sunday, and now traveling home after the night game with no rest. Meanwhile, Washington has to travel as well, but they were in Arizona for a 3-game span. They head home. So I think there's actually more of an advantage for Washington, despite the fact San Fran's back at home. And they've been gone, by the way, for over a week and a half as well. So this is not a good setup for the Giants. Not a big fan of Mikolas. That's what kept it off my best bet card. But I do think this is a spot where we fade the Giants. I would take a look at the Nationals, and we're getting them at plus money as well. Look, even the worst big league starters have occasional good outings, occasionally get a win. And this is probably that one spot this season where it's favorable for them. Take a look at my Washington Nationals plus $1.30. That game at 9:40 Eastern tonight on Monday.
Yeah, and Steve, while you were breaking it down, I just threw up there so folks could see. This is a no-brainer with what we have rocking here. Buy 3, get 3 days free. So you got 2 free picks there. People love free, Steve, and they can get 3 days free over at your page, WT.buzz/SM. We're still going to talk game 3. Don't worry, folks. But thoughts here, Steve, on what is a great time to hop in for prospective clients.
Yeah, speaking of free, by the way, I've got a free play in another baseball game tonight, Phillies Blue Jays, on my page right now. So if you want, there's 8 games tonight in baseball. I just gave you 2 free, and I give you another one free on my page, Blue Jays, Dan Alexander's Phillies. Which way will I go? Will I upset Dan or will I make him very happy? Go to WagerTalk.com and find out. And while you're there, strong best bet in Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight on Monday as well. And, of course, you can get the single play tonight for $25, or you can get 6 days for just $69, dude. It's 3 days and then get the other 3 free, as you see on your screen. That is 6 days for $69. You know, everyone gets excited for tomorrow, $5 Tuesday, and you should. It's the best Tuesday of the week. But how about getting every play every day for like less than $5 with the 6-day special for $69? And another insider tip, it's stackable. That means you can buy multiple buy 3, get 3 frees, multiple 6-day packages, and then set your start date down the road for multiple weeks to come. Hey, you can get tonight's NBA best bet, get the $5 Tuesday best bets tomorrow, and then start your 6-day on Wednesday through next Monday, and then take advantage of $5 Tuesday. A lot of creative ways to do it. Don't miss out and get that free play as well tonight in baseball. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM.
There is no better Tuesday than a $5 Tuesday.
It's
Steve.
one of my top 2 favorite Tuesdays of the week.
And it ain't 2.
Taco Tuesday's up there as well. Actually, you know what? I was being silly, of course, but I just realized what I just said actually makes sense because there's a Taco Tuesday. I just realized what I said actually is factual. I've always said that being a smart ass, but actually you could have 2 favorite Tuesdays. Taco Tuesday one week, $5 Tuesday. I didn't, damn. Now I can't say it anymore because it's actually factual, and I don't believe in facts.
Well, I do believe in facts, and
Damn
I
it, Andy.
believe. I believe
You're
the
better than
Spurs
me?
need a
You think
win.
you're better than me?
I believe the Spurs need a win tonight here, Steve.
Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty true.
I think this is a disaster in the making for the Knicks tonight. They're a 2-point favorite, over under 216.5. There's wonkiness. There's a certain somebody that's going to show up, and I think it's going to disrupt the energy. This game is not going to start till really, really late. I think the Spurs pull the upset. Do you disagree or agree?
Yeah, and Trump's going to be there also. Oh, you meant Madami, right? He thinks the Nets lost 10 straight when he was there.
Shamit, Ben Stiller, Spike Lee.
Has Madami gone to a Knicks playoff game yet? We need to find this out because the Nets lost 10 straight when he went to that first game this season with New York. Yeah, it's Andy, you and I think so alike. You know, we started together doing the NASCAR show, and you and I always kind of take an outside perspective, and I think why we both have been very successful, and you, of course, with props as well, because you do have to kind of go against the grain some, right? And I talked about the baseball game earlier. We got a terrible starter on the mound for the Nats, but then again, it's a bad situational spot for the Giants. And I don't think this is a good situational spot for the Knicks. And what I like about that is I think the average public thinks it's a great situational spot for the Knicks. They're up 2-0. They won on the road. They've won 13 straight. Now they're at home. They're a favorite, right? But, I mean, the New York atmosphere is not always welcoming. It's chaotic. And, yeah, you do almost wonder if this is like setting them up for failure. And, hey, look, I'm not saying the Spurs are going to come back and win this series. They're, almost plus 350 take back, minus 450 take back, plus 350. That's 80%. The odds makers are saying the true odds are 80% New York wins this series, 20% the Spurs can win 4 of the next 5 games. But as Crackman, alluded to, it's been an even series. You could actually make a case San Antonio's better in game 2. They led the majority of the minutes. They had a 14-point lead again. They've had double-digit leads in both games. The series should not be a sweep. These are 2 evenly matched teams. And if they lose tonight, it very well might be a sweep. And it's also interesting about the ticket prices going down, because if you think about it, if you want to go to a Knicks game and you're going to go all out and spend that money, you're going to go to game 4, right? Because you might see them win the title. So I think we're seeing game 4 tickets go up in prices while you're getting a better deal now at just $3,000 or $4,000 for a seat versus $8,000 a week ago.
We just got some bad news. Book It with Trent is on the Spurs tonight. That's
tough.
That's
you're
and we don't have
fighting
Foster.
an uphill battle.
They used Scott Foster in game 1, which I was shocked about. And I think maybe that's because they thought the Spurs were going to sweep. And we got to get the Knicks a win in game 1. We'll put the extender, and maybe it's backfired, right? Because Wemby, it was scripted. Wemby was supposed to hit that final shot. Castle was supposed to be looking when he threw it in his back. A foul to give. They purposely fouled Brunson, and then Wemby fouls him. That was the difference in the game. Nobody's talking about that, guys. They purposely fouled Brunson the previous possession with the foul to give, and it came back to bite them. So it's been an even series, right? Anything can happen. But if they lose tonight, they might get swept. And I just don't feel like it's a 4-0 series, but we'll find out.
Steve, I got to tell you, you coach basketball. Like, this overreaction to Wemby throwing the ball to Castle when he wasn't looking. This is the biggest overreaction ever. The guy's 22 years old. This was not the biggest boneheaded play I've ever seen. Like, not even in the top 100. I despise.
I totally agree. Yeah. Andy, you can even make a case. Like, I'm not blaming Castle, but you can make a case. One thing I teach the kids from ages 8 on the way up is when you're running down court, your eye is on the ball. Like, and the younger kids do that so much. They put their head down, they sprint to the other hoop. And I'm not saying Castle was at fault there, but he should have been looking. I mean, and like when the ball's behind you, especially and he's kind of the point guard right now too. I don't think he's a true point guard, but your big man, does he know your big man has the ball, yet you're not looking? So in a way, it's on both of them. I will say this about Wemby, and Dan, you've heard it in the videos I've done the last couple of days, is that, a week and a half ago, I asked the comment section, like, is Wemby going to go down as the greatest big man ever? I'm saying not now. I'm just saying he's 22, the trajectory he's on. And then within 2 or 3 games now, I'm thinking, is he one of the most overrated players in the NBA? Like, I've been going back and forth. And I think you hit it on the head, Andy. No, here's what I was going to say. He's 22 years old. You already said it. He's 22 is what I've been saying. And there's going to be inconsistencies. People forget how young he is and how freakishly big he is. I mean, the guy's 7'6", and he was taking the ball up in that scenario. But he also took a bad turnaround 3 from the corner, not looking. He forces shots, but then again, he's 22. It's his third season. But yeah, and I think, Andy, if you like the Spurs tonight, you got to play Wemby props, right? I don't see them not having a big game out of Wemby if they do get the win tonight.
Probably. I mean, it's set up beautifully for a Wemby big game. The mistake that he's catching a bunch of shit from and then comes and waltzes into MSG in front of Trump and puts on a big ass display. Like this, Wemby is legacy building at this point. So
if they come back and win this series, he's going to be one of the greatest big men ever. But if he flops tonight, then that whole discussion starts again. So it really is a pivotal game for him, as crazy as that sounds in his short career. The other thing I'll ask you real quick too, De'Aaron Fox had not looked healthy. I called that out in the Game 2 preview, and then he puts up 20 points. I don't know if that was for real or not, but that's another X factor nobody's talking about, that if he is playing better now, this could be a different Spurs team going forward. Because remember when he first returned to the last series, they did not play well, and then they played better after that. So I think the props are really tricky there, Andy, with Castle, Fox, Vassell. They got so many guards. Who does the heavy lifting? That's why I default to Wemby. If you like the Spurs, I think Wemby over props are just a safer play because I don't know who's going to get the ball in the backcourt.
I have somebody from the Spurs is going to go like sneaky, like 6 of 8 from threes, like Champagne or like Castle, like somebody goes nuts. And
right,
like,
but which
we
one?
Don't know
right?
who
Exactly.
It's gonna be. Yeah, you have to try and pick it up. But we'll let you go here, Steve. We're running along, but this run by the Knicks is one of the best NBA runs I've ever seen. The only thing I can compare it to is when the Miami Heat won, what was it, 25 in the regular season, which talking about a sports record that would be broken. But Knicks close this out. This is the single greatest playoff run I've ever seen.
Well, I'll tell you what you can compare it to. There's only 2 other teams that have won this many in the same postseason. It was the 99 Spurs who swept the Knicks, ironically enough, and it was the 2017 Golden State Warriors who won it all. So we've seen it twice, and it usually works out well. And I'll leave it at this. I don't blindly fade the public, and I don't just blindly play contrarian. I respect momentum, and I use a lot in my handicap. And the Knicks definitely have momentum, no question about it. And the public's not always wrong. But like Crackman said also, the Knicks have been very public here. But then again, the public's been right for 2.5 series with them. It'll be interesting, Andy, as you said, you're thinking the same way as me. Is this the momentum breaker with all the momentum tonight at home? Is it going to be momentum overkill? Does it just break the entire apparatus? And we'll find out. Should be a great game. I'm looking forward to watching it when it tips off at 11 p.m. Eastern, like you said.
Exactly.
8:30 East, 8:30 start time Pacific.
Yeah,
they told the fans,
exactly.
and like I think it's called the President's Score. Like it's a big event, and he is a New Yorker. Like it's his hometown, but like it's going to cause chaos. And like they're telling people to get there 2 hours before the game, and I'm laughing because I'm thinking this is a Monday night game in New York where people are working till 5, 6 o'clock. No Sunday hockey or NBA because they wanted to give him the extra travel day, I guess. There should have been a game. This game should have been last night. It should have been last night.
Wild.
Crazy.
Wild. All right. Steve Merrill, his breakdown video in detail is on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Thank you very much, Steve. Good luck tonight.
See you boys tomorrow.
Double dose of Steve. Let's go.
I'm here for it. I would do a daily show with Steve, of course. All right, we got to do all around the world, and we got to get out of here. 5% best bet is up tonight. We're rolling. I already got this locked in. I'll just say this: if we hit the bet tonight, Dan, I'll let it ride.
Ooh, all right. I like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I already bet the 5%er tonight, so grab it. WT.buzz/AL. No brainer, baby. Let's ride.
We got Fever and Mystics. I like Citron to go over 14.5 points. I keep telling you guys. By the way, this is a bubbling story that there's people are starting to talk about. Caitlin Clark is blowing the 28-3 lead, Dan. This is not going well for Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
No.
They cannot guard the perimeter. She's becoming a brat. She's becoming unlikable. They took away the credentials of a reporter because he reported on her being injured. This is not going well, but it's the defense of the Fever on the perimeter that you got to fade. We're taking over 14.5 points on Citron. She's gone over 6 out of 8 games this season. They lost on Saturday at New York. They lost at Portland, and they gave up 100 points, 18 points to one of the point guards. They lost at Golden State. They gave up 90 points, 25 Burton. You get the gist here. You're taking guards in the perimeter against the Fever to go over the point total. And a Ralph Michaels special. We gave out a Ralph Michaels Nerfy special last week that he hit. We're running it back. Nationals Giants Nerfy. We talked about this one. He's got some really good stats here. Both starters have strong Nerfy numbers. Washington 3 straight Yerfies and 4-1 Yerfies away. But San Francisco is 3-1 to the other side. So we're going to take the Nerfy here on Nationals Giants. Dan, awesome show. Great Monday. I think I've recovered from my drive from Louisiana and back.
We're back.
And then like I had some other things to sell. And Jim was like, I live too far away. I'm in New Jersey. And I was like, I just drove to Louisiana and back. Why would you think this isn't a thing that we can pull off?
Exactly.
So, all right. We got really good shows up on Wager Talk on the YouTube channel. Dan, tell them about the YouTube channel. We just passed 250,000.
Yeah, we're finally above 250,000, and we've reached the buffer zone where people who just like unfollow or unsubscribe just to be funny because we were pushing that. We've reached the buffer zone that we're past that. So keep the subscribes, keep the likes coming. We would greatly appreciate it. You can find us right here on YouTube, on X, wherever you're streaming. And also, folks, we have a stable of sister sites as well that is worth mentioning because now if you have bought from Wager Talk before, but you've never bought from Sports Memo, Picks and Parlays, Winners, Whiners, worth letting you know that we have a coupon that works at all of them. Pick your site and you can get some action for just $1. And it has a guarantee you're going to get 3 flex picks if your play loses. So that's Buck is the code here. Sports Memo, Picks and Parlays, Winners, Whiners. Yes, we love what we do at Wager Talk. We also have some of these sister sites that if you bought from us before but haven't tried out these 3 sites, get your action in, start an account, use code BUCK, and get a guaranteed play there. We'd love to see it, a daily package, Andy. Have to mention it. Have to mention it when you're saving people that money like that for just $1.
Buck.
Remember code BUCK.
Promo code BUCK.
Promo code BUCK. A lot of hunters going to be in on that one, Andy. Promo code BUCK. Indeed.
All right, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow, same time, same place for $5 Tuesday. Let's hope we're coming off a 5% winner. Thank you, Dan. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to all the guests. Good luck on your bets tonight. See everyone tomorrow. Take care.